If you would please state your full name.
Ava Renee Woodward.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Thank you. Ms. Woodward, first of all, what is your relation to William Theodore Woodward?
He's my dad.
Now, back in 2012, where were you living?
1960 Smith Drive in Titusville.
I guess I'll start with, how old are you now?
I'm 17.
Okay. How old were you back in 2012 in August, September area?
I was 12.
Okay. When is your birthday?
August 4th, 2000.
So you just turned 12.
Yes.
Okay. Now, taking you back to that July, August, September time period in 2012, where were you living? What was your physical address?
I was living 1960 Smith Drive, Titusville.
Okay. And where were you going to school?
I was going to Jackson Middle School in Titusville.
Okay. What grade were you in?
7th.
Okay. Now, during that time period, who were some of your all's neighbors in that area?
Gary Hembree, Roger, I can't say his last name, Carrie, Bruce, Crystal, their kids, Corey, Zach Hembree, Destiny, Crystal's little sister, Jessica, Roger's girlfriend, I believe, Kim, Lydia, Scott, the lady next to us. I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the children that lived in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Did you ever have any problems in this time period, July, August, September 2012, with any of, let's start with Kim Cass' children?
I did.
Who were they? Which of the children were they?
Can't remember names.
Okay. What kind of problems did you have with them?
An example would be me walking home from the bus stop. They would be yelling my name, saying rude things, and can't stop it. But I'd be walking home and they'd just yell random stuff at me.
Okay. How did that make you feel?
I felt pretty upset because I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't retaliate. I was scared.
Okay. Now, did Miss Cass ever try and stop her children from harassing you?
Not that I know of.
Did any of the other children in that group harass you during that time period?
Yes.
Who else?
Crystal, Corey, Destiny, Destiny's friends. It must be the kids. I can't remember their names.
Okay.
Zach.
And what kind of things were they doing to you?
Just calling me names and yelling my name out as I was walking home from the bus stop.
Okay. Did they ever direct any of this toward your brother? Ethan was 4 years old then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I recognize that he wouldn't have been going to the bus stop at 4 years old, but did they ever direct any of this abuse toward him?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So you were their primary target.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did any of the parents of these other kids ever do anything to try and control their behavior?
No.
To your knowledge, did they actually encourage the behavior?
As far as I know, yes.
Now, were you also aware of conduct directed toward you and your family by the adults in the situation?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of things were you aware of that the adults were doing?
I knew that they would stand by the street corner and yell my dad's name all the time. Just random insults for the most part. They would wait for us to come home, stand on the street corner, stand outside, wait for us to come home.
How did that make you feel?
Not great. It was belittling.
Did you have any concerns for your own safety?
I did.
What kind of concerns?
I was scared that one day they might just decide to come across the street and stand at our house and yell at us.
Did you have any concerns for your brother's safety?
I did, because he was only 4. He can't defend himself.
How about concerns for your parents' safety?
I was scared for them too.
Now, these things that you observed when you were coming home, could you actually hear them from inside your house?
I could.
From your bedroom?
Yes, sir.
They were that loud?
Yes.
Was this something that was infrequent or frequent?
Pretty frequent. Pretty frequent over the past couple months.
Okay. And let me ask you, in terms of the harassment by this group's children, has that even ended right up until these days, right now?
Not really.
September 2nd, 2012. Do you remember what you were doing earlier that evening?
I do not.
Okay. Long time ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember with specificity any of the events of that night?
No.
Do you recall your feelings about what was going on?
Most definitely.
Okay. During that evening, could you hear any of this type of conduct directed toward your house by the Hembree Picior Blake gang?
Yes.
Overruled, you can answer.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you remember the details of what was actually said that you heard?
No.
Could you explain to the jury what you heard and how it affected you in terms of your feelings that night?
Well, that's a compound question, so I can break this up.
Okay, I'll break it up. Can you give us any specifics of what you heard?
I couldn't tell you what was said.
Okay. Can you tell us how it made you feel?
Yes.
Would you tell the jury how it made you feel?
I was scared. I didn't know if they were going to try and hurt us. I was scared.
Did there come a point in time where you actually got out of bed and spoke with your father that evening
Yes.
and expressed those fears to him?
Yes.
And he attempted to reassure you, is that correct?
Yes.
Sent you back to bed.
Yes.
Were you able to immediately go back to sleep?
No.
What was going on?
I was scared. I couldn't sleep.
What sort of things were you still able to hear things?
I could hear. Yes. I couldn't hear what they were saying. I knew they were yelling.
Okay. Did that cause you to have concerns for your safety?
Yes.
Did it cause you to have concerns for your brother's safety?
Definitely.
Your mother's safety?
Yes.
You know that were you aware of the fact that she had taken some medication and actually was asleep under the influence of medication?
Sustained.
What was your knowledge about your mother's sleeping condition?
I just knew she was sleeping.
Okay. Did you have concerns? I may have asked this, and I apologize that I'm repeating, but I got out of order. Did you have concerns for her safety?
I did.
What kind of concerns did you have for her safety?
She wouldn't be in the right frame of mind to try and defend herself. She wouldn't know what's going on.
Did you have concerns for your father's safety?
I did.
What kind of concerns did you have for your father's safety?
I didn't know how he was going to react to it. I didn't know what was going to happen to us.
Now, did there come a point in time when you were able to get to sleep?
No.
So you pretty much stayed awake throughout the night?
Yes.
And were you even aware of the fact that your father had left the home?
No.
You were just staying in your room, trying to get to sleep, reacting to what you were hearing.
Yes.
The things that you were hearing, did they reach the level that you considered them credible threats that you were First of all, I want to make it clear, Ms. Woodward, that we're talking about September 2nd into the early morning hours of September 3rd, 2012. Okay?
Okay.
Now, you've testified that you don't recall any of the specifics of what you heard that night.
No.
Did you hear some things that you considered to be threatening?
Their voices were threatening.
Okay.
The way they sounded was threatening.
Okay. So it was more the tone and tenor of what you were hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you believe that they were capable of representing a real threat to you?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Were you concerned that the threat was imminent?
Yes.
Now, afterwards, at some point the next day, you were interviewed by a detective, that time Detective Kane Watson. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And she asked you what you saw, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did she ask you what you heard?
Can't remember off the top of my head.
Did she ever ask you how you felt?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right.
Cross-examination?
Yeah. Ms. Woodward, you were 12 when this happened. You've been 12 for a few weeks, right? When this incident happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that particular evening, had you gone out with your parents over to your in-laws' house? Grandparents. I call them in-laws because it's Mr. Woodward's in-laws. But your grandparents, your mother's parents.
I can't tell you off the top of my head. I don't remember.
Okay. And that's why I just want to know what you remember. Did you, well, let me ask this. Do you recall if you were there that day, which is a Sunday, going into Monday, or you came home?
I can't remember anything that happened that day.
Okay. So, how is your memory about what happened that evening?
I tried to go to bed. That's all I remember.
Right. So, do you remember who was home, when you got home, when you started hearing things?
I remember my parents being there, my brother,
Okay.
my grandparents.
You remember your father's parents being there for a period of time?
I do remember them being there.
All right. Do you remember when they left?
I do not.
Okay. Were you still awake when they left?
Yes. Yes.
And what I'm interested in, I'm trying to figure out where your bedroom is located. Remember that house on Smith Drive?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Where was your bedroom?
In the back of the house.
So that's what I want to
The
understand.
back corner.
Okay, I'm going to put this picture. It's Exhibit 2. Let me show you. So, and there's this will shoot a laser up there. You recognize that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now this is what I think of as the front of your house. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. Now, can you kind of show the jury where your room would be in this house if we walked in it? Where would it be?
Can you see? If you need to stand up, you can.
You can stand up. Don't be shy about that.
If you came in through the garage right here,
Yeah.
and you went through the door right leading to the house, and then you went back to the back hallway, it's about in the middle of the house. And
Okay.
it was on the left.
Okay, so it's on towards the backyard, towards the, is it,
Corner.
how far back is it? Where the house, kind of where the house ends, or is it in the middle? Where's it at on that side there? Because you're pointing to the
It's
part.
where the house ends.
Okay. And if you looked outside is there more than one window in your bedroom at this time?
I believe there was 2 windows.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, if you looked outside your window, would one of the things you see would be the crow's house behind you?
Yeah, yes.
And then if you looked out the other window, what would you see?
If I looked out the other window, I saw the lady's house next to us.
Okay, and let me put up this is Exhibit 1. And now this is an aerial image, okay? I want to orient you. This is Smith Drive, and then this is Lane Avenue that goes out to Park, and I believe that this area right here is where the crows live. So can you show us where your bedroom would be on this image?
Right there.
Okay, back there?
Yes, right there.
All right. So that would be completely the opposite side. Where were the Hembrees? Do you know where the Hembrees and the Blakes were when you were hearing these noises?
They were across the street at their houses.
Where's across the street? Over there. All right. Do you know if they were having a party that evening?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Do you remember, Mr. Eisenmenger talked to you about an interview with a detective, a female detective. Do you remember that?
Yes.
She came, I think your mom was there?
Yes.
Okay. And have you listened to the interview you had with the
No, I have not.
detective? All right. Do you think that was 3 days after this happened. Did you know that? It was on September 5th?
I don't remember when it was. I just know I did it.
Okay. But it was pretty close to when this happened, wasn't it?
Yes.
Do you remember what you told the detective?
I do not.
All right. Would listening to the tape refresh you on that?
Probably, yes.
All right. Do you think it would assist your memory in what you were doing and what you heard and what you saw back then?
Yes.
All right. I request recess.
Please be seated. All right, so the jury has been excused, and you may proceed, Mr. Respis.
Ava, and how you spell that? Okay. And then tell me what you heard that night. First time I heard call my dad name and looked him directly in the eyes. And he was like, and I got up. And I went back to bed. And then I heard someone yelling, like screaming yelling. And I didn't get up that time because they were having a party.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that was what it was. And then my mom brought me up to play with my brother. That was the second time. And the third time was when she was on the phone talking to somebody because that's what happened.
Okay, can you tell me what word you wrote? Do you remember what word you wrote?
The first time,
Yeah, when you first heard it, why did you read it?
because I heard some yelling like that came outside.
Did you hear what they were saying, or were they just yelling his name?
They were just yelling at me.
Okay. Do you remember about what time that was?
Probably one of them.
Can you think of anything else? Let me ask you this. You said the dog was moving back and forth between the rooms, like walking around. Could you tell what he was doing? Just walking. You were on the computer when you first came out or anything?
Yeah, he was turning it off.
So they told me it's the truth and that's what the truth tells people.
Okay. And my question, were you able to?
Yes.
All right. And did you recognize the voices on that interview as something you participated in?
Yes.
Does that refresh your memory, at least about what you told the detective back
Yes.
then? And is what you told the detective, was that true, what was in your mind? That's
Oh,
what
yeah. Yes.
you knew then? All right. I intend to go into that with her just to make sure what she heard, what she didn't hear. Well, there's more details, Judge, and I just want to get into, and there's things about which you now, I believe, you now know when approximately you got up. Did you hear yourself answering that question?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Was that accurate now that you reflect on it?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Okay, so you can't say it was 11:30, hearing yourself say it was about 11:30?
I heard myself say 11:30, but it's so long ago I can't remember.
Okay. All right. All right, I'm ready to proceed and then finish whatever's going to come out of this, okay?
Okay. All right, well, we'll see what the questions are, what the responses are, and if there's any objections to them, but otherwise we can bring the jury back in?
Yes.
Okay, let's bring the jury back in, please.
Ms. Woodward, after you went to bed that evening in the room you've shown us, did you get up 3 times that particular
I did
night
get up.
today?
I did
Right.
get up.
And the first time you woke up, did you hear someone outside calling your dad's name?
I did.
And when you got up after that first time, what was your father doing?
He was sitting on the couch.
Okay. Well, let me ask this. Was he going in and out of his room?
Not till later.
Okay. Was he on the computer and then he turned it off?
He was out in the living room. I don't know exactly what he was doing.
Okay. Show us where you saw him. I mean, you got out of your bedroom. Where did you find your father?
In the front of the house.
Okay. Now let me ask. So it was towards the front of the house? Is there a part of your house where there's a bunch of windows?
Yes.
Okay. Where is that on your house? And does it point towards Lane Avenue looking towards Park, or Lane Avenue looking towards Smith Drive?
It's more pointed this way.
Okay, so it's pointed towards Smith Drive. And would you see under that tree if you looked out those windows?
Yes.
See that big tree in the front yard?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So was your father in a room where those windows were?
Yes.
Now, you went back to bed. Your father took you. You went back to bed.
Yes.
Back in the same bedroom you were in before.
Yes.
All right. And you're laying there, but you didn't go to sleep.
I did not go to sleep.
Okay. And while you're laying there, do you hear screaming?
I do.
All right. And did you associate that screaming with the party that was going on over at the Hembrees and the Blakes?
I just knew someone was screaming, and it sounded like it was coming from over there.
You didn't get up that time, right?
I did not.
And the reason you didn't get up is because they were having a party, and you figured that's what it was, right?
Well, they had been screaming the whole night,
Okay.
and I just didn't get up.
Okay. And then the next time you got up was when your mom got you up to go stay with your brother, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
Ms. Woodward, the screaming that Mr. Respis was asking about, is that the things that you said were threatening sounds?
Yes.
Those are the things that made you scared?
Yes.
And they were coming from over at the Picior, Hembree Lake area?
Yes.
Is yelling your dad and calling him out and all
They
that kind
were.
of stuff that woke you up?
Mhm.
Is that part of the threatening sounds?
That's leading and it's not what she's testified to.
Sustained.
The calling you out, calling your dad's name out.
They were.
Okay?
As well
How
as
did that
having-
make you feel?
I was terrified.
Why were you terrified? They were just calling your dad's name.
We didn't know what they were going to do.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
We didn't know what they were going to do. They were having a party, but they were also calling our name.
Okay. And it was that name calling that made you scared?
Yes.
Now, I understand it's been 5 years and it's hard for you to remember the exact details. But can you clearly, even 5 years later, remember your feelings?
Yes.
And what are those feelings?
Terrified. Scared.
I object to her feelings now.
Overruled.
Yeah, Mr. Respis played the actual questioning, I guess, a couple of days after this event by Detective Kane Watson. Did that confirm that she didn't ask you about your feelings then?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any recross? No. Okay, thank you very much.